What up, everybody? It is Friday Eve. So I just want to let y'all know that it is about that time again this year, as it happens every year, where we are about to go through a lovely furlough. So we don't know what's going to happen. All we have to do is plan our best. So if you are first time listening to this show, I want to say thank you for being here to the show. If you've been here before, I just want to say thank you for coming back again. Listen to my voice and spend the time with me, Anthony Weaver, who is the host of the About That Water podcast show, where we help you build strong financial habits. Let's go on and get with this intro and start jamming out to some music. You know how we do when things get a little rough around here. All right, let's hold on, guys. Let's go.
In a world where financial advice is as blurry as a wild night of cheap Jell-O shots, clear your head and your monetary halitosis with the About That Wallet show, hosted by Anthony Weaver. Leave those Jell-O shots for the amateurs and learn to indulge in the top shelf bottles, baby. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
And it is me again. So, one of the things that I would like to talk about is a little quick tip. All right. All right, in today's quick tip, we have the average American saves only about 5% of their income. But because you who listen to this show does not have to only save that 5%, we want to make sure that you save more. And the way how we save more, we got to start off with that 1%. We start off with the 1%, then we go to that 2%. We go to that 2% because we feel comfortable and feel mighty lovely, so we got to go up to that 3%. But as we go to that 3%, we move on up to that 4% because that 4% is amazing. And then we go from that 4%, then we go up to the 5%. I'm telling you, if the average American is only saving 5%, I want you to go on to make that up to 6% because that 6% is where it is at, okay? So this is your quick tip for the day. I want you to be able to actually save more in your finances, save more in your savings account, because you have what it takes to make your life better, all right? Because this show right now, what we're talking about is dealing the way to survive the furlough as an employee on the About That Water podcast show. So how you guys doing out there? What I'm going to do, I'm going to take calls throughout the day because I want to hear from you. I want to hear about your day, how you feeling today, because you know what? It is Friday Eve. All right. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that for a little bit right now. So if you guys actually want to make a phone call here, let me go down and link up everything so you can actually give me a call right now. I just want to start the show off just to kind of see how your day is going. And what we talking about today is the phone number is 833-699-2558. All right. So as we get things going, I'll have you listen to a little bit of music here as we get going so that we can get on with the show. All right. So what I want to have that we're going to be talking about is some of the stuff that's in the news. We got some, you know what? Let's think about it. How long is this furlough going to be? That's coming up next, you guys. Let's get to it. All right. Hopefully you guys are doing good out there. Friday Eve, man. We gotta love it. We gotta take in the day, you know what I'm saying? It's lovely. We having a great time right now. And because of that, I want to share with you what are they really talking about here? Because we got this thing hanging around us and we just don't know what's going to happen next. So I got this little video
Higher
for
than
those of you who are watching right now, but I pulled up this video. It's about a couple minutes long, but I want to share this out because this is actually really important. They're talking about Congress prepares for funding talks as deadline looms. Now, keep in mind that the shutdown and actually President Biden had to actually sign off on something by October 1st, which is this Saturday. So, what we got to do is figure out what in the world was going to happen. So, let's see what we got.
I'm Lisa Mascaro. I'm the chief congressional correspondent for the Associated Press. We are days away from a possible federal government shutdown. Lawmakers are preparing to return to Washington for the first of what will be several days of potentially tense voting with an uncertain outcome. Uh, Speaker Kevin McCarthy is trying to get his Republican majority on board. He faces a very rebellious right flank that is pushing for steep spending cuts. The level of spending cuts Speaker McCarthy has been unable to deliver. There's a lot of resistance, not just from Democrats, but of course from his own rank and file Republicans. Hard right wants a level of spending that they say Speaker McCarthy agreed to back in January. But Speaker McCarthy cut a deal with President Joe Biden that has since become law that sets the spending levels slightly higher than what those Republicans agreed to back at the start of the year. They, however, are still fighting for that lower level of cuts. It's deep spending to programs and government services that Americans rely on. Many of the hard right Republicans say it would be no problem if the government shuts down. There's just days to go. A shutdown would happen if the Congress cannot pass its spending bills by Saturday, October 1st. Sunday is the start of the new fiscal year, and that's when we would begin to see government closures. That said, even if the House is able to get its bills over the finish line, they still need to be reconciled with the Senate. And the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats, has no interest in this deep level of spending cuts. In fact, Senate Republicans and Democrats have been working together to pass their own bills at slightly higher spending levels. So at some point, the House and Senate are going to need to come together and reach an agreement. That seems highly unlikely in the days left, which is why Washington is bracing for a federal government shutdown as soon as this weekend.
All right, all right, all right. So, one of the things about, having such a thing looming around and we're trying to figure out like what the heck to do. Okay. Looks like I'm a little dark over here. Let me lighten up the situation a little bit. So one of the things that I want to get to the bottom to is what the heck do we do? Okay. I'm tired, like I'm gonna just let you know. I was at work today and they call this all hands meeting. For those of you who actually ever been to an all hands, pretty much that means that everybody has to show up regardless if you want to or not, just to kind of get the information that they want to put out there. So, what they're trying to do is to make sure everybody's okay, having a good, not really having a good time, but try to prepare your life and what you're supposed to do, what they recommend to do, and so forth. And one of the people was talking about how it would be nice if you could, you know, oh, I saved a month and a half of my income, or I saved 3 months of my income, or expenses. And though that sounds nice, but it's almost like a billionaire saying, oh, you know, I have my ruby red slippers are, just falling apart. And, but I have a pair and I think you should too. When do you really actually have the money to just kinda offset? Like, life happens, you know? My hair isn't acting up today, but we're gonna keep moving because my hair is doing its thing. But having that understanding and having that conversation with somebody who's been, you know, doing what they're supposed to do, or making enough money where it seems like it's okay that they can just use their paychecks and just kind of say it flaunting around, not really flaunting around, but it's almost like a humble brag in front of everybody to say like, hey, at least I got my stuff together. I hope you got yours too. And these conversations about money and trying to save and everything like that, it's kind of late. They talking about like this weekend. And if you're an employee, majority of you guys probably got paid either on the 15th. So that means that your money is already running out. And your next paycheck is supposed to be the first, which is this Saturday, which is the beginning of the new fiscal year. Like it just doesn't make sense. On how could you have such a conversation at a time like this? These saving conversations should have happened way before this. And if you're a follower of this show, you already know that we always talk about saving, even if it's just $1 a day, which is 30 on average, about $30 to $31 a month. So if that's all you have, that's all you have. Okay. You might have enough to pay for that, your mortgage or your rent for this month. And then you be like, I'm not sure how I'm gonna feed my kids in about 2 weeks. I'm not sure how I am gonna put gas in the car. You know, these are real conversations that are happening right now. And you can't just sit around and say, like, oh, well, they said I should have a month. You should have a lot of things. Okay. You should have fruits and vegetables inside the house. You should have, um, non-dairy products because, the immune system, like, we all know what you should have. But the reality is you don't have. And so, how are you or how are we going to get through this? Now, one of the things that I have to say that, dealing with withdrawal from friends and sometimes your work family, and, some people don't have additional family with them right now or in the same state, and they dealing with such a furlough or just loneliness again because we just came from it from the outbreak from COVID. So it's like you having like not PTSD, but you almost have like a trauma dealt with loneliness again. So how do we deal with that? Well, one of the ways that we can deal with it is by taking a moment just to go head on and talk to a friend, call somebody, uh, text, shucks, you can even come on this show. I'll talk to you all day because we like talking. And actually, you see, I'm talking to myself. Actually, I got my little buddy right here. So I'll call him Mr. Bear because I ain't come with a name yet. I think I was call him Steve at one point. I don't know. He got multiple names throughout the years, but I had this thing, geez, since maybe 2011 ish. Dating myself, but it's an old toy that I got from McDonald's. But anyway, I digress. We are here right now talking about how can we get beyond what we have right now. So one of those things to deal with loneliness is like I said, just talk to somebody, get to know, your friends, get to know somebody. Maybe number two, which is you might have to cut back on what you used to be doing. So if you got those happy hours that were planned, you might want to rethink those. If you go, maybe get some water and some fries and be like, hey, I'm just here for the fries, just here for the conversation, and just kind of call it that day. So what do you guys actually do when you're dealing with loneliness? I'm curious to see what you have to say because, somebody out there might need you, might need some extra thoughts beyond what I can do for you here on this show. And I'm only here with you for maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, but I have well over 200 hours of recorded information. So if this is something that you are willing to take a deeper dive into, then I highly recommend listening to some of the other shows. But, that's how we're going to get through it, though. We're going to get through it. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it work because The whole reason for my show is to help you be better, help you build up strong financial habits. And the way how we do that is making sure that we have our ducks in a row, even through the tough times. Now, going through the tough times, one of the things that I actually have and I created is something called the Simple Budget Calendar. Now, the way to get your own Simple Budget Calendar, I'm going to go ahead on and share my screen. You can go to aboutthatwallet.com/shop. And or you can go /store, get you to the same place. Now, with this particular inside my shop, I actually have a lovely tool called the Simple Budget Calendar. Let me show proof. All right. So go scroll through the collection. I got a couple bags. You'll see all this fun things, but you come all the way down to the bottom here. And it's called the Simple Budget Calendar. Now, the Simple Budget Calendar is something that I created because it was during a time frame where I was in a rut. I had all my credit cards were maxed out. I did not know what to do. So what I did was take the moment, took an hour or less, and I sat down and went through all of my credit cards, wrote down what are my gaps and my knowledge far as like where is my money going. I needed to know. I need to know what is the max amount of each credit card. I need to know when I had to pay that. I need to know when everything is due. Now, this document is a printable. So that means that you can pay once, which is only $5, and you can print out as many times as you need to. So that's the beauty, the reason why I created this thing, because this is something that I use to get me out of debt and get me to where I am today with a 800 credit score and some money in the bank, so that the furlough, which is happening now, isn't impacting me as much as it could be if I wasn't. So with me being an employee of the government, it's kind of one of those things of like, how do we move on as a unit? And this is one of the ways. We got to teach each other. We got to be there for each other. All right. So we got that. See what else is happening in our lives. One of the things that I want to talk about is what's happening right now as personal loan interest rates have been changing over the few years. So see where we at. All right. So personal loan interest rates dropped from 3 to 5 year loans, meaning dropped for 3 and 5 year loans. Borrowers with good credit, let me share my screen here so y'all can see. All right, so they say that rates on a 3-year fixed loan averages is 14.14%, a drop from 14.84% the last 7 days before. And up from 11.63% a year ago. Rates on the 5-year fixed loans are averaging 20.23%, down from 20.28% from the previous 7 days, and up from the 15.51% a year ago. So over a year, it pretty much went up a little less than 4%. And then on the 5-year, and then we're looking at roughly about 3% on the 3-year. So, which is good. I mean, we can look into that. But a lot of people are looking at loan rates right now because, so as we mentioned earlier, you have an obligation to go ahead on and start changing the way how you consolidate your bills. Now, consolidation is one of those things I've tried before. It works from time to time. However, paying off those debts can be tough on the wallet. And by keeping up with what's happening, we got to know that this is an option. So all of these other options and having a loan, just one lump sum loan to lump everything together, is a habit that you have to know, which is understanding that loans can hurt you if you're not careful. So they talk about personal loan interest rates saw a decrease over the last 7 days for 3-year loans, falling by 0.7%, percentage points. I don't know why they keep doing these percentage points, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, the 5-year loans dropped by 0.05% points. Interest rates for both loan terms remain significantly higher than they were the last year. Still, can borrowers borrowers can take advantage of interest rates, meaning of interest savings with a 3 or 5 year loan rate right now. Both loan terms offer interest rates that are much lower than higher cost borrowing options such as credit cards. However, we always talk about interest points. And remember, this is just for educational purposes only. So please make sure you go ahead on and make the adjustments and contact your uh, personal financial person just to make sure that you're covering your bases. Because, I don't need you to see me, bro. Don't see me, bro. Now, with this being said, we can keep moving. What else we got? So, I mean, with the loans, they're great if you know what you're doing, if you have your habits in order, which means that you can pay these off within a roughly time frame. Now, they're talking about credit cards earlier. Again, you need to have a strong habit dealing with credit cards because you can actually do a loan with your credit card, which means that it doesn't count as income. And they usually give you 18 month no interest, with the caveat that you have to pay the 4%, or they'll tell you like 4%, 3%, whatever the percentage rate is before you can withdraw that money. Now, usually what they will do is tack on that money with the price of the loan. So, say if you have a $20,000 credit card, they usually will only allow you to take up a max of 15,000. So, if you do 15,000 with the maybe like a 4% interest rate up front. So you're only got to pay one lump sum of 4%. You're looking at roughly around, it should be about what, 700 $750 that you'll have to pay. But they pretty much, you can take that directly out of the loan amount and just pay it all together. And they'll give you 18 months to pay all of that back. Now, if you're not comfortable with the amount that you have to withdraw, that you are not sure that you're going to be able to pay it back within that time frame, I highly recommend against it. However, it is your money. You do what you like. However, I'm just here for educational purposes only to share what is possible because that can happen. So I'm not sure if you guys were keeping track recently, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics just put out that most American, not even BLS, I would say Fox Business actually, just recently had an article that said most Americans can see the economy in bad shape and it's getting worse. Do you guys agree that the economy is actually getting worse? Because it seems like it's doing okay to me, but also I'm not out there spending on a lot of things. I'm just buying, basic groceries and gas. But I have noticed a shift in the price of just basic foods, as far as like sweet potatoes are now like $2 a pound. I'm like, I remember when it was only $1.19. Where are my potatoes? Small potatoes, but it is what it is. We hear where it's at. Inflation actually rises above 3%. So inflation increased to 3.2% in July, according to the most according to the latest price index or the CPI, so by and this is actually the data was released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so BLS. The year over year spike was primarily driven by the cost of housing, which increased 7.7%. At the time, at the same time, what's going on? Why am I stuff moving around? All right. I think it must be a mouse going on. Or maybe they just updated it. Huh. Yeah, it looked like they updated this article as we were reading it. This is so crazy. I've never seen this happen before. Come on. No, they didn't read it. It's just fine. All right. At the same time, the food away from home index rose to 7.1%, and the index food overall climbed to 4.9%. Okay. That is really wild that everything else is going up at this point. So, how are you guys out there dealing with the food prices going up? You know, um, but dealing with that and understanding how all of that is taken care of, we need to understand like, all right, this is how the Bureau of Labor Statistics or BLS.gov, if you guys want to follow, for those of you who are listening, that, food has gone up. They talked about energy. Now, remember, there was a huge push from Congress to try to make sure that we wean off of using their carbon footprint. And by doing so, you can see here by the end of August 2023 that we're actually a negative 3.6 as far as energy usage, which is amazing. In the turn of events as things are going down. So, as overall from February 2023 until August 2023. So, and they also say unadjusted 12 months ending is the minus 3.6%, which is great. So, for those of you who are looking for electronic vehicles, you might see more, stuff becoming available and so forth. Now, as we move on to apparel, which I think is great, that this price actually went up by 3.1%. You're like, man, what are these percentage points? What does it really mean for me? Now, to keep in mind, you're looking at billions and trillions of dollars. So 3% of $1 billion is about 300 million, if my math is correct. So that's quite a bit of dollars. If I'm wrong, please shout it out. Somebody do the quick math. Don't quote me on it. A lot of stuff is happening. And I'm like, yo, what are we gonna do? All right, so let me tell you a story. I got a story. So I was just going to the grocery store recently, and I was trying to make some soup because I was like, you know what, I got food at home. I think I can do something here. I think I can cook a little bit. Chop it up in the kitchen. So I'm up here feeling good. Go get some corn, like actual corn on the cob, and then I got some. No, I didn't get corn on the cob. I don't like corn on the cob. I got some corn kernels, and then I got some potatoes. Got sweet potatoes, and I think I got like some other seasonings. And I was paid about at least $60 at the grocery store. I did not imagine that it was going to cost $60 just for basic, just pure basic foods. I just can't believe it. And I'm like, I could see if I was actually getting some meat. I can only imagine how it felt like to get some meat at the grocery store and wind up paying $60 just for, I can't even, just a few pounds to feed a family. So how can we curve this dynamic in our finances, and how can we get through this? And this is the reason why you're looking at this show. It's like how can we make this happen? What's going on, Highway 54? going on, Floyd? Let's get to thank you for dropping by the show. What you got here? What you got? So you said food and rent go up, but corporate and government greed keeps pay the same / low. You're right on the money. Okay. So one of the things that I do not like about this whole um, bill that's being passed right now that they're looking for, which is called a CR, continuous resolution, is that the people that are sitting here voting on if everybody else can get paid, they the ones still get paid, while everybody else who are impacted by this will not see a paycheck until they decide on what they want to do. And then on top of that is a back pay, which means that the people who actually are working are pretty much working to get paid later on, while those who are not essential pretty much will have time off just to do whatever they want to do. And hopefully they take the time to actually either A, call the people that are still there to kind of thank them for going to work. And hopefully they are appreciative for those who are currently working and who are essential. At least I know I am. I am constantly thankful for those of you who are coming in. Let's see what we got. We got a new person. What's going on? Enjoy travel. I love it. You say they need to change that. Maybe they'll get something done if their pay was impacted too. I know that is right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Because, like, yo, we sitting up here doing all this work. They continue to get paid. And I think somebody else put it in back in 2019 that they should not get paid. And because they felt like they should get paid, like they shouldn't get paid, somebody filibustered or whatever, turned it down. So now they continue to get paid while everybody else don't get paid. And I think that's some bullshit. So for that, because I feel like it's some bullshit, it's about that time to have a drink, to say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Raise y'all glasses. Make sure y'all go get y'all glasses because it's one of those days, okay? It's one of those. Let's go. All right, what y'all drinking out there today? Because today I'm drinking a Corona Extra. Usually I do liquor on the show, but decided to do beer today. Because it's one of those days. It's like, you know what? It's about that time. And I can recycle the bottle. But because if they shut it down, like, who's going to collect my trash? Like, yo, everybody is like, oh my gosh, everything's shut down again. I can't believe it. Actually, you know what? I don't even know what I'm going to do if they shut down everything. Hold up, you got Grandma Ye and Pine. I know that is right. God damn. Yo, like, that is awesome. You got the Grandma Ye out there. I haven't seen Grandma Ye in a minute. So, you know, having these drinks, I have to say, some of you don't realize, like, why do we drink? I'm going to say this right now. So, drinking is one, it doesn't have to be anything. What I want to do, I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start doing this on the show. So for those of you right now, I know you, if you still got some left, what I want you to do is hold your drink in the air and say, thank you. Thank you for not giving up on myself. I want to thank me for everything that I've accomplished today. I was able to get up today. I want to be thankful that I was able to make it to work today. Okay. I want to say thanks for being able to breathe today. Okay. I want to say thanks for making sure, hey, we got a job. I want to say thanks for, hey, no sex in the champagne room. Yeah, that's right, Floyd. No sex in the champagne room. However, hey, when a time of need, the champagne room does have lights out. Right? So we want to say thank you. And let's not forget that all the things that we've done and how far we've come with as far as we've came with our finances so that we can survive these moments. And for those of you who are just listening and just tuning in, it's okay. You will have your moment of redemption when it comes to your finances because you have what it takes. You found this show out because it was able to provide guidance to what you need. And if I'm that person, please just go down and like and subscribe right now because I want to make sure that I continue to assist you. And I want to thank most of you who have signed up right now. I'm actually at 370 subscribers right now on YouTube. So I greatly appreciate you all. Unfortunately, I do not see how many subscribers I have on Spotify. I think I have about 60. So it would be nice if I can get that up to 100 if you guys have Spotify. Unfortunately, I can't see Apple on what it is. However, this is Thankful Thursdays, and I know it's Friday Eve, whatever y'all want to call it. I'm super excited for it. So let's get going. Oh, as we were talking about different activities, I actually saw this right here. I want to give them credit because I cannot take this credit. For those of you who are listening, what I have right in front of me is a webpage and it's on Instagram and it's called Mastering Wealth. So they have this little image. I actually might want to use this myself, which is called Savings. Every account serves a purpose. And on here, I'm going to just read about 3 of them. They talk about the checking account. Now, the checking account, its purpose is for daily expenses. Now, the tip for it is that some offer sign-up bonuses, which they do. And the cool thing about it, like it depends on how much money you put in there and everything like that. That's great. The next one, because we were talking about savings account are short and midterm goals, which is opening HSA. We did a full episode on HSAs, meaning HYSA, I'm sorry, which is a high yield savings account. Then also the other tip is that some offer sign-up bonuses. Again, that's great. Now I'm trying to look at the most immediate things that we can do right now. And we're looking at credit cards. They said the purpose is daily expenses, cash back, and points. Now, the tips they say here is always pay in full and keep utilization low. And the way how you keep utilization low is by actually paying off your card. Okay. If you want to use those trips and everything like that. So when you look at some of my clips and you see me traveling to Chicago, traveling to Miami, I'm just traveling just to be traveling. That is because you gotta keep utilization low if you want to get to where you want to go. All right. So again, as an employee for the government, you want to make sure that you know what your options are. One of the other things that they actually talk about when it comes to options is a furlough. employee, you have the option to borrow against your retirement account. Hear me out. Because I know for some of you guys, like, no, I'm not touching my retirement account. It's for when I retire. I get it. These are for some of the people who did not know they had the option. They can actually borrow against their retirement account. By doing so, it's considered a loan. You'll get a loan at a particular interest rate. It all depends on what rate you fall into. I've seen and heard some rates are about 1%, and some can go up as high as 5%, but it's never as high as the going rate for the percentage rates for most of the loans. So keep that in mind. Please make sure you consult with your employee relationship opportunities that they have out there. There's a full program if you're an employee you have access to. Well, it's usually called EPA, the Employee Assistance Program, EAP. That's what it is. So with the Employee Assistance Program, they can actually guide you to where you need to be to get all of that lovely information. Okay. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share. And this is one of the things I wanted to save from the very beginning is that, did you know that the government, depending on how long this shutdown is, matter of fact, let me see if I can just hold tight here. Let's see what we got. We got some live news in the station. Let me get my music going. I gotta find everything. Nope. Sorry, guys. It's been a while playing all my songs because it's, you know. All right. Okay. All right. So for those of you who didn't know, the government shutdown could actually affect student loans. The government could run out of cash the day student loan payments resume. With Congress potentially unable to reach an agreement with the federal spending litigations to be signed by the president, the government could shut down on October 1st. And that's a particularly important date for many student loan borrowers because they suffer from severe consequences. They could default on their student loan when the payment begins. The program is scheduled to run from October 1st to September 30th, 2024, the Department of Education said. Financially vulnerable borrowers who miss monthly payments during this period are not considered delinquent. Reported to credit bureaus, placed in default, or referred to debt collection agencies, the White House said in a statement. Biden announced on ramp initiative after the Supreme Court struck down the Education Department's plan to initiate widespread student loan forgiveness under the Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students, or HEROES, Act of 2003. The administration had hoped to justify the elimination up to $20,000 in student loan debt per borrower. That met certain criteria such as income limits, but Scouts ultimately ruled the plan illegal. So what does that mean for us? Bruh. Because who's ready to pay these student loans? Not me. Actually, well, I've been trying, just taking my time, but a lot of people aren't, right?
Bruh.
Because we got a lot of
Emotional, damn it.
and we just don't want it. So how do we deal with this? Chief Justice John Roberts concluded that while HEROES Act permits Secretary of Education to modify student loan regulations, it can allow the government to transform them. This really is going to be a huge kick to the gut.
Aww.
So that's what I'll leave you guys with, because it's about that time frame. We gotta get this thing going. All right, you guys. Since we don't have any phone calls today, I do want to give a shout out because somebody actually left me a comment on my podcast. I wanted to make sure that I love to read 5-star comments. So if you guys actually ever go to About That Wallet and Apple, you can actually find my podcast. And when you're there, you can actually leave a 5-star review. And you can see all the lovely episodes that we have. So I do have a comment from Omar Mo 93. They left a comment on September 7th that said, awesome finance podcast, really awesome finance podcast out about investing. Especially love the episode with Sorry. A must listen. Anthony knows his stuff. I greatly appreciate that because, a lot of people don't leave the comments because, you might be a little shy. It's okay. I love hearing about what you have going on. Thank you, Omar, for actually doing that. So for those of you who haven't already left a 5-star review, please go ahead and leave a 5-star review. If you are uncomfortable leaving that review, just go ahead and leave just the 5 stars. I love seeing those. It helps me get known out there and it helps other people find me so we can further assist each other. All right. So with that being said, I hope you all are doing your best, learning the most from everybody, and not giving up on yourself, because that's the most important thing. All right. So I just want to say that, it's been a pleasure. And I hope that you all are learning more about that wallet. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because you never know who might need this. And you have what it takes to be financially fit. All right, everybody. Y'all, I'm out. Peace.